Tonight, questionable deals. Lawmakers debate over the cancellation of the Airbus deal in Parliament. Shoulder to shoulder. President in South Korea condemns the North Korea's missile launch while visiting the neighboring nation. On hold. The case against delimitation Gazette will not be taken as requested by the Attorney General. In business headlines, managing the economy, Governor of the Central Bank Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy clarifies how to mitigate any negative impacts of global financial developments. And in sports, new leadership. Thisara Pereira named as the captain for the upcoming One-Day International and T20 series against India. Good evening to all our viewers joining us across Sri Lanka and around the world. I'm Mahesh Johnny. Welcome to First at 9. We want to take you straight to the south where reports of inclement weather is creating havoc. While strong winds have engulfed southern Sri Lanka with the development of a low-pressure atmospheric condition. Disaster Management Centre issued a red alert for the southern province as gusts of winds ripped across Mathura and Galle districts. First at 9 contacted Director of the Disaster Management Centre, Pradeep Kodipilli, for further details.
As per the Meteorology Department, they have warned over the country, especially 150 millimeter rain will be expected around the country. So since the few days time, we are continuously alerting all the coastal communities that as per the department, more than 70 to 80 kilometers per hour wind will be expected over the area. So today it is exceeded more than expected in Galle and Mathura as per the ground level information. So still people need to be very vigilant with that situation, and fishermen and the naval communities need to refrain fishing. As per the NBRO, that they have warned over the possibility of landslide in Mathale and Kandy district. With the prevailing rainfall, people need to be vigilant in all the hilly areas. Then NBRO has warned and identified all these vulnerable areas. People need to be vigilant. If any landslide observations been observed, so they need to move for the safer locations. Evacuation must be done if any signs of the landslide been observed. So all the technical agencies been linked with the Disaster Management Centre. So we are continuously alerting all the communities since few days time. Today it has been issued a red notice by the Met Department that warning will be extended, and very red alert has to be extended over the country.
Meanwhile, Minister of Law and Order Sagala Ratnayaka has instructed the IGP to be prepared for a possible disaster situation in the region in view of the adverse weather situation. Naval and fishing communities are advised to refrain from setting out to sea as wind speeds are expected to increase further to around 70 to 80 kilometers per hour in the coastal areas. We will be keeping a close watch on that and bring you the very latest as and when we get it. Let's move on with the other stories we have for you tonight. President Maithripala Sirisena and South Korean President Moon Jae-in strongly condemned North Korea's latest long-range ballistic missile test today, violating relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions. The president, who is currently in South Korea on a 3-day state visit, held bilateral talks with his counterpart on various sectors, including trade, economic development, security and cooperation in regional dialogues this morning.
President Maithripala Sirisena paid respects to the Korean martyrs at the War Heroes Memorial Tower located at the National Cemetery in Seoul this morning. Thereafter, the president visited South Korean President Moon Jae-in at his official residence in Seoul, where they received a warm welcome. During bilateral talks, President Moon agreed to provide assistance in developing the Homagama Tech City Institute and the Katunayaka Aero City Institute upon a request made by President Maithripala Sirisena. 5 MOUs which aim to enhance bilateral relations were penned following discussions. These agreements include development in economics and trade, employment permit system for Sri Lanka youth in South Korea, Korea's Economic Development Cooperation Fund, culture and arts, education as well as sports. The president said that employment permit system will be beneficial for the youth of Sri Lanka, to which South Korean president stated that they will increase the number of employment for Sri Lankans who wish to be employed in the country, particularly in the fishing, construction, agriculture and dairy industries. Meanwhile, a joint statement regarding the state visit was released to media today. According to the statement, the two heads of state agreed to increase exchanges of high-level government officials and parliaments of the two countries. They also confirmed their commitment to further strengthen cooperation in defence, including exchanges between armed forces, strategic communication and cooperation in regional dialogue. The two heads of state strongly condemned North Korea's test of a long-range ballistic missile, violating relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions. They also exchanged views on regional affairs, including Southwest Asia.
The faculties of Management and Applied Science of the Vavuniya campus of the University of Jaffna are currently closed. The measure was taken last night by the university administration, with students of both faculties told to vacate the hostels immediately.
A faction of students at the Vavuniya campus made preparations to celebrate the birthday of the former LTT leader Velupille Prabhakaran on the 26th, with another faction opposing it. A video is currently in circulation on social media where students are seen notifying the incident to the university administration. With fears of a clash erupting between students, the administration decided to temporarily close the faculties of Administration and Applied Science with immediate effect last night. The move will also result in the indefinite postponement of half-term tests. When inquired by First at 9, the Vice-Chancellor of the University, R. Vigneshwaran, said the campus was closed in line with the decision by the University Senate and the date of the reopening will be announced later. Meanwhile, State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardene and the Secretary of Defence spoke on the Mahavira Day celebration in the North following a function in Jayala today.
There was news of Mahavira Day. I think the portrait of Prabhakaran is printed in A4-sized paper and displayed in some places in the Vavuniya University. The Terrorism Investigation Division is currently investigating the issue. We all know that LTTE is a banned terrorist organisation. Celebrating either Prabhakaran or the Elam flag is prohibited. One can commemorate those who died in war, but no one can speak about the leader of the LTTE because it is illegal. Legal measures will be taken and we will take measures to ensure such incidents don't happen again. First, investigations have to be conducted. We can make arrests afterwards. Arrests will be made once those who are responsible are identified.
As per the Attorney General's request to call the case which was filed against the court ruling that suspended the delimitation gazette notification has not yet been listed by the Court of Appeal. However, the appeal court so far is preparing to call the case on the previously decided date of 4th of December.
The Court of Appeal ruled to nullify the delimitation gazette issued by Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government Faiza Mustafa until the 4th of December. As per decision taken at the party leaders' meeting in the Parliament, the Attorney General has presented a motion to the Court of Appeal requesting the case related to the order be taken up on the 30th of November. Today, however, the Court of Appeal did not include the case in the list to be called tomorrow, and instead the case will be taken up on the previously decided date of 4th of December. Meanwhile, Deputy Minister Ajit P. Pereira met with the Chairman of the Election Commission today to request that local government elections should be held on the same day for all local government bodies.
It is the UNP's stance that the election should be held on the same day across all government bodies and that it should be held by the end of January.
Meanwhile, holding a media briefing, the civil society organisation representatives said that under no circumstance should the election be postponed.
It's clear that they are not working according to the mandate they've been given. Those who claim that they are favouring democracy haven't yet held elections.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna meanwhile placed deposits for election for Kandy, Matala and Nuwara districts today. Views were expressed in the political arena with regards to joint opposition contesting the election together with SLFP.
We are very happy that the SLFP did not join hands with the former president's party. the UNP will have a major victory in the election. I don't think they will get together because they don't like the proposals we presented. First is they should sever ties with the UNP, and the second is those who spoke against the budget proposal should get the chance to cast their vote. What is this political scenario? We should put President Maithripala and former President Mahinda in a room and ask them to sort out problems by either having a fight or hugging it out. Would the public's problems be solved by them resolving theirs? We should also put Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe in the room too. They are all friends and they are only pretending to be divided.
The joint opposition says that if the SLFP sever ties with the government, then it paves the way to contest jointly under any symbol that is desired. These views were made by parliamentarian Bandulu Gunawardena when he addressed the media today.
What we requested from them was to contest with the alliance formed by the joint opposition. We also have taken steps to deposit funds in each district in case we have to contest by ourselves. There are statements made by many and it reveals one thing. Most people of this country are against the fact that we are even discussing with the SLFP. When we join alliance, we have many symbols to contest. We have the symbol of the chair, the lotus bud and the beetle leaf. We initially contested from the beetle leaf. We will take strategic steps as a party. If we don't do that, we will be deceived in the end. That happened in the past. So what we are doing is going ahead with our plans, and in case things change in the future, we can discuss at that point. But our initial condition is that they need to sever ties with the government.
Let's take you to the parliament now. Parliamentarian Mahindananda Alutgamage revealed in-house today that there have been fraud when cancelling pre-existing orders of 3 aircrafts of Sri Lankan Airlines. He made the revelation joining the budget debate pertaining to the Ministry of Public Enterprise Development.
When cancelling aircraft orders made during the previous regime for Sri Lankan Airlines, a certain amount should be paid for it. Sri Lankan Airlines brought in a new CEO who used to work for Emirates. He was brought in paying around 7 million and he has destroyed this. Such officials should be brought before commissions and should be arrested. The A380 aircraft are used in the Australia route and you go to Australia 7 times a week. People say that CEO's house is in Australia and that's why A380s fly to Australia. Chairman's house is in London and that's why A380s are saved for those 2 routes. I would like to remind that it was the chairpersons of previous times that turned aircraft around and visited wherever they wanted. We have lost the certificate EASA 145 given to maintain aircraft of Sri Lankan Airlines by Europe. It's been 6 months and we have faced losses in billions of dollars because of it. It is not cancelled. It's temporarily suspended for 6 months and have been asked to rectify several shortcomings. I accept the fact that this is a loss. All the 3 aircraft were cancelled. Sri Lankan Airlines had to pay $110 billion to Airbus. They paid it with a loan from the Bank of Ceylon. You know who got a commission of $10 billion out of that $110 billion. You can't answer that question. Everyone, including the chairman of the Sri Lankan Airlines, have to go to court regarding this matter. They have to answer these allegations. I remember when we came to COPE and questioned, they said, yes, we spoke to Kabir, and we asked, who is Kabir? The chairman referred to the minister as if he is someone of commonplace. Ultimately, Sri Lankan Airlines sent you a report on this. Prime Minister's office informed to terminate this. The brother sends the cancellation order of 3 aircraft of Sri Lankan Airlines to the younger brother from the BlackBerry. Are these family companies? This is a case that will go to court even in 10 years' time. They will have to go to prison. Do you remember the business plan put in place after procuring these 3 aircraft? You and I both know that plan was impossible. It was plunged to a state that profits were impossible even by 2020.
The Court of Appeal issued an interim injunction order preventing legal action against former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa under the Public Properties Act until the 6th of December. The court made this decision responding to the writ petition filed by the former Defence Secretary.
The Financial Crimes Investigation Division launched an investigation against the former Secretary of Defence Gotabaya Rajapaksa on allegations that he misused public funds during the construction of D.A. Rajapaksa Memorial Museum in 2014. Accordingly, the Attorney General's Department informed the FCID that they can proceed with legal action against the former Defence Secretary and 6 other persons under the Act of Public Property. It was in this backdrop that Rajapaksa filed a writ petition at the Appeal Court requesting an interim injunction order preventing the FCID from taking legal action against him. When the panel of judges took up the writ petition yesterday, President's counsel Ramesh De Silva, appearing on behalf of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, stated that this is a case to be considered under the Civil Procedure Code and claimed that the FCID presented a certificate under the Public Property Act intending to arrest his client. De Silva went on to request the Appeal Court to cancel the particular certificate through a writ order and interim order suspending it be implemented. Accordingly, the President of Court of Appeal LTP Dehideniya and Justice Shiran Gunaratna explained today that as per the petitioner's reasons, no crime has been committed under the Act of Public Property. The President of the Appeal Court said that as per the statements by the petitioner, the project was carried out based on an agreement and that it should be purviewed under the commercial law. The Appeal Court's presidents pointed out that the case therefore cannot be considered under the Act of Public Property and that he will have to suspend the implementation of the report compiled by the Assistant Superintendent of Police until the 6th of December. Finally, the Court of Appeal issued the interim injunction order preventing legal action against former Defence Secretary Gotabaya until the same date. Meanwhile, Additional Solicitor General Dilrukshi Das Wickramasinghe, who represents the Attorney General's Department, said that she will file objections against the order on the 6th of December when the case is scheduled to be taken up.
In other local stories we have for you tonight, a group of disabled retired police officers attempted to forcibly enter the Department of Pensions today, demanding solutions to their issues over their pensions. Our correspondent says that the group is still at the office of the Director General.
A group of retired police officers and officers of the Police Special Task Force disabled during the 3-decade-long civil conflict reached the Department of Pensions this morning requesting solutions to their issues pertaining to pensions. A tense situation arose when they attempted to reach the Director General of the department. At the heart of their issue is the slash of disability pension and the relevant pensions not being paid to retired officers with a service period of less than 10 years, even though the cabinet approval is granted. With discussions proving unsuccessful, they continue to remain at the Department of Pensions. Meanwhile, a protest was organized by the All Ceylon Teachers Association in Batramulla with teaching assistants representing a number of provinces joining the protest. They demand that all teaching assistants be included in the 3rd grade of the teaching service from the day of their first appointment. A discussion was held with the Secretary to the Ministry of Education for a second time, during which he promised to provide a solution to the issue. Meanwhile, another protest was organized by Trade Union Joint Committee of the Inland Revenue Service. They claim that an appropriate response has not been forthcoming to the request made from the Ministry of Finance in July, where they requested that payment allowances be based on the current salary. Although the protesters attempted to reach the Ministry of Finance, they did not get an opportunity, and instead several of their representatives were given the chance to enter the ministry and explain their concerns.
The trade of ivory is an illegal and unethical practice which often leads to much treasured tuskers being killed for their lucrative tusks. Derana recently unraveled an ivory racket, and today we learn that a pair of tusks discovered in the possession of the racketeers in fact belong to the much-renowned tusker Galgamwe Dalaputua.
Derana unravelled an ivory and tusk pearl racket in Polpithigama on the 24th and 25th of this month. A team of police officers under the supervision of the Director of the Anti-Corruption Unit of Walana, ASP Hemal Prashantha, arrested the racketeers. Following the revelation made by Derana, the wildlife officers commenced operations to identify a pair of tusks discovered in the possession of the racketeers. Later, it was revealed that the pair belonged to the much-renowned tusker dubbed Galgamwe Dalaputua. Since they were unable to find the body of the tusker, officers of the Police Special Task Force, 50 police officers and 43 wildlife officers launched a search operation in Pallakele Reserve under the directives of the Minister of Wildlife Gamini Jaivikram Pereira today. amidst heavy rain. They located the body of the tusker in the upper area of Horowever, believed to have died about 3 weeks ago. Its tusks were shorn off. Meanwhile, following the revelation made by Derana, a number of wildlife organizations met the Acting Director General of the Department of Wildlife Conservation, Manjula Amaratna, and charged that the wildlife officials are directly responsible for the death of the tusker. We questioned the Minister of Wildlife, Gamini Javikrama Pereira, on the issue.
They had found blood trace also in the tusker, these two tusks. Then they had taken the Gajamutu also. It was to be sold to sell at a price of 2 million. Looks like this elephant was killed. So now the veterinary surgeon tomorrow is going to the post-mortem, and they had identified my officers that wound mark is there. So that exactly they have confirmed the tusker we call Dalaputwa will be taking action irrespective of anyone. They had, I think today also they had arrested some people, maybe some very powerful. We are not interested of the party or irrespective of anyone who is involved, arrest and take them to custody and produce them. So there won't be any interference. We give a message to anyone who is trying to do this type of things that we will not tolerate.
We also contacted Environmentalist Attorney at Law Jagat Gunawardena on legal measures which can be taken to protect tuskers in the country.
Elephants, including tuskers, had been given the highest legal protection under the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance. Section 12 of the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance, no one is allowed to kill any elephant or hurt or injure or take any elephant, which are punishable offences under the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance. And one particular reason is that the Wildlife Department is very poor in its manpower to protect the wildlife of Sri Lanka.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Derana 24/7.
Well, before we move on to businesses, we want to bring you an update on the weather situation that is creating havoc in the southern region. The Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy just confirmed that power supply is interrupted in the district of Galle, Mathura and Hambantota. In addition, electricity supply in Badula, Bandarawela, Diyathalawa, Kalutara, Ratmalana and Nugegoda has also been affected. Once again, that story which we are closely following is that the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy has confirmed that the power supply is interrupted in the districts of Galle, Mathura and Hambantota. In addition to that, the electricity supply in Badula, Bandarawela, Diyathalawa, Kalutara, Ratmalana and Nugegoda has also been affected from the inclement weather conditions. We are going to follow that story and bring you when we have more information on that. Now let's move on to business news. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, says Sri Lanka needs prudent economic management as the country faces increased borrowing costs due to US federal rate hike. Although Sri Lanka didn't have debt maturing in nearly half a year, allowing the economy to retain funds, the governor, however, said that Sri Lanka faces a growing challenge in raising more money. Dr. Kumaraswamy said the government has already taken a decision that all proceeds of the diversified structure, including the $1.1 billion through a long lease of Hambantota Port, will be allocated for the purpose of managing debt servicing obligations.
Addressing the Sri Lanka Economic and Investment Conclave, the Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy spoke on the global economic situation and the implications for Sri Lanka.
If I may say a little bit about the Federal Reserve's normalization of its monetary policy. Long-term debt, sovereign bonds, syndicated loans, etc. Here the costs are likely to rise as US interest rates go up. However, Sri Lanka has an opportunity. Because Sri Lanka has historically been a twin deficit country, there has been a large premium above the risk-free rate, that is the US Treasury rate. There has been a large premium above that in terms of the cost of our borrowing. If we are able to make our macroeconomic fundamentals more robust, we can compress that differential between the US Treasury rate and our own borrowing rates. And that can compensate for any increase in the US interest rates.
He went on to say that clear framework in place to give greater consistency and predictability in policies will mitigate any negative impacts of global financial developments.
Sri Lanka has the challenge of raising a lot of money. It's a peak in its domestic debt repayment next year. Fortunately, the last 5 months of this year, we do not have any debt maturities, which is giving us a chance to collect some money to act as a buffer to manage this peak in domestic debt. We are also putting in place a Liability Management Act, which will give us the space to raise money to address the bunching of external debt, which takes place from 2019 onwards. Not only that, the government has also taken a decision to earmark all the proceeds of divestiture, the sale or long lease of government assets, will be credited into special accounts which will be earmarked for debt servicing. For instance, the $1.1 billion from the long lease of Hambantota Port to China Merchant will be earmarked for debt repayment.
Minister of Megapolis and Western Development, Partli Champika Ranawaka, who was the chief guest at the event, meanwhile pointed out that Sri Lanka must be strategic in exploring geopolitical advantages the country boasts within China's massive capital-generating One Belt, One Road initiative.
We need to think strategically. In the latest global situation, China has become a major player in manufacturing, trading, capital investment, GDP purchasing power parity, etc. However, US is still ahead when compared in GDP nominal value, strength of the military. Today, China is the largest donor and investor to the Sri Lanka. We all know that President Xi Jinping's program, One Belt, One Road, will ultimately convert a vast area connecting Europe, North Africa, Middle East, South Asia and East Asia to a single greater economic zone. Sri Lanka should also use this opportunity. To meet this situation, we are thinking of a development triangle.
The government of Austria yesterday extended an interest-free soft loan of nearly 19.4 million euros to Sri Lanka to assist in upgrading government healthcare facilities and life-saving equipment.
The loan facility provided through Raiffeisen Bank of Austria will be spent for the procurement of 100 ambulances for select government hospitals. The loan will also be taken to upgrade the Katunayake Engineering Technology Institute as well. The 4th EU-Sri Lanka dialogue was held at the Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade today. Ambassador to the EU, Tunglai Mark, said that the recent budget encourages investment in new sectors and added that the improvement is needed on the Ease of Doing Business Index. With a view to further liberalizing capital flows and in simplifying the processes associated with current account transactions and various types of foreign currency rupee accounts, the government declared in its budget proposals for 2016 that a new foreign exchange law will be introduced. According to the communique, a new legislative and policy framework for foreign exchange operations has been implemented by the Foreign Exchange Act No. 12 of 2017 with effect from November 20, 2017, repealing the Exchange Control Act No. 24 of 1953. Provisions of the new act are being implemented through the newly established Department of Foreign Exchange in the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
Well, stocks were higher after the close today as gains in the footwear and textile, motor and services sector led shares higher. At the close in Colombo, the Colombo Stock Exchange all share added 0.05%. Well, with that, let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other currencies during the day today.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back everyone on to international news now. North Korea's state-run television KRT today said the country successfully tested a new type of intercontinental ballistic missile that could reach all of the US mainland. The missile test, which was signed off by the state leader Kim Jong-un on Tuesday, was its first one since mid-September.
The latest missile launch comes a week after US President Donald Trump puts North Korea back on a US list of countries it says support terrorism, allowing it to impose more sanctions. KRT said the new powerful missile reached an altitude of around 4,475 kilometers, more than 10 times the height of the International Space Station, and flew 950 kilometers during its 53-minute flight. The Pentagon says the US, Japanese and South Korean officials are all in agreement that the missile, which landed within Japan's exclusive economic zone in the Sea of Japan, was likely an intercontinental ballistic missile, but it did not pose a threat to the United States. That said, however, South Korea's President Moon Jae-in spoke to US President Donald Trump on the phone after the missile launch and said that North Korea's missile technology seemed to have improved. Meanwhile, South Korea's military confirmed that they too conducted missile drills in response to North Korea's missile launch, with some scientists cautioning that Washington, D.C. could not theoretically be within range of Pyongyang's weapons. The military said an Air Force KF-16 fighter jet and a Navy Aegis ship, as well as an Army missile unit, participated in the missile test today.
Pope Francis today sidestepped the term Rohingya as he addressed a mass of 150,000 people in Myanmar. He did, however, call on the people of Myanmar to embrace peace and reconciliation as their country emerges from nearly 5 decades of military rule.
Many devotees said the fact that the Pope did not use the contentious Rohingya term showed that Catholics support peace in Myanmar. They believe that he will bring peace to Bangladesh and help resolve the refugee issues between the two countries. The Pope made his appeal at an open-air mass in Yangon on the third day of the visit, fraught with diplomatic risk over a military crackdown that has triggered the flight of about 625,000 Muslim Rohingya from the predominantly Buddhist country. Pope Francis avoided the term Rohingya following the advice of Vatican insiders who feared it could set off a diplomatic incident and turn Myanmar's military and government against minority Christians.
You are watching Sri Lanka's trusted news brand, Other Derana 24/7.
Well, 28-year-old all-rounder Thisara Perera will lead Sri Lanka's one-day international team in the 3-match series against India, which is set to begin on the 10th of December. It will be Thisara Perera's first experience captaining the team in the 50-over format, replacing Upul Tharanga. Thisara, however, led the 2020 side that took on Pakistan at the Garavi Stadium last month.
Thisara Perera has played 125 one-day internationals with a formidable strike rate of 109 but an average of only 17. As a bowler, he has taken 133 wickets at 32.62 apiece. Thisara is the 7th man to captain Sri Lanka in 2017, following Angelo Matthews, Lassit Malinga, Rangana Herath, Dinesh Chandimal and Chamara Kapugedara, who has borne the responsibility in one format or the other.
You would have noticed that he got all the support from the players. We played the T20 series in Dubai and in Pakistan, and we expect the same support and the cooperation to be extended by the players because we felt that he carried out his duties very effectively. He was a very, very aggressive captain. So I think when it comes to one-days and the T20s, that is what is required.
Meanwhile, with the third and final test match against India scheduled to get underway on the 2nd of December, Sri Lanka is hit with an injury blow. Rangana Herath is ruled out of the test with Sri Lanka cricket, confirming the left-arm spinner has injured his back. Leg spinner Jeffrey Vandase, who is uncapped in test, is likely to be named as a replacement.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Well, before we move on to whether we have an update on the inclement weather situation which is engulfing the southern region of the country, well, the Road Development Authority requests motorists who are travelling on the southern highway to be very cautious and not to travel more than 60 kilometers per hour. Once again, that story for you. If any one of you are trying to travel on the southern highway this tonight, be cautious about that. The Road Development Authority is requesting motorists not to travel more than 60 kilometers per hour on the Southern Highway due to the inclement weather experience in the region. And with that, let's cross over to Katharina Chang and the other Derana Weather Center with their forecast first evening edition.
A very good evening and welcome to the Weather Centre Forecast First Evening Edition. Now, if we take a look at the map, we can expect some mild temperatures over the course of the day ranging between 20 and 29 degrees Celsius. Now, a low pressure zone is developing in the northern region of the island, which could bring about some heavy showers over the course of the day, particularly in the Vaunia, Trincomalee and Mena areas. As well as moving downwards, we can expect some wet weather or thunder showers in the Kandy, Colombo, Galle areas over the course of the day. Now, if we take a look at this particular map here, a cyclone system is brewing in the southern Bay of Bengal, which could lead to some thunder showers. Now, we will keep a close watch on this situation as we keep you updated here on First at 9. Let's now take a quick look at your city by city forecast.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. Mahesh Johnny, First at 9, will return tomorrow at the same time. Be sure to join us then. Now, when you have the time, make sure you connect with us on Facebook. That is at facebook.com/first@9 or on Twitter at twitter.com/first@9. And before we wrap things up for tonight, we are going to take you to beautiful Victoria Park in Nuwara. It was originally the research field of Haggala Botanical Gardens and formally named in 1897 to commemorate Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.